there, beautiful people. Welcome to Live Out Beauty. Did you know that today is World Mental Health Day? Well, guess what? Now you know. And I thought this would be the best time to tell you all about my postpartum depression story. Hi there, Monica here, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I upload videos wherein I share tips and tools on how to make the different facets of your life beautiful. And if you're not new here, I'm sure you've noticed a lot has changed. My hair, where did it go? Yes, it's a lot shorter now. And my voice, I'm sick, I have a bit of a cough. I sound like a boy going through puberty. Before we go on with the video, I hope you consider subscribing to my channel by hitting that subscribe button and by hitting that notification bell so that you'll be informed every time I upload a video. I promise my other videos are not gonna be this heavy. And now that we got that out of the way, I guess I should start from the very beginning. A very good place to start. That was a musical joke. That was from The Sound of Music. And, oh God, okay. I found out I was pregnant with Emilia back in November of 2015. So I signed up for antenatal classes to prepare for, childbirth. And at one point, the instructor said that it's normal to have baby blues for the first 2 weeks of giving birth, and that it might possibly be postpartum depression if it goes beyond those 2 weeks. So having taken that class, in a sense, I was aware of postpartum depression. I was familiar with the signs, I had the literature, but, of course, as anyone would, no one, I never suspected that it would happen to me. Okay, this is a postpartum depression story, not a pregnancy or delivery story. Long story short, I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, Emilia Rebecca Linden. And here's a confession. They show you in movies how after giving birth, mothers just want to hold their child and just fall in love with the baby. I was just relieved it was over. More than, elation or joy, I was relieved that I could go home soon. So how did I know that I had postpartum depression? I remember I gave birth, and I think it was around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning when they finally wheeled me back into the ward. Emilia was there, and I was exhausted, but I couldn't sleep because I was surrounded by so many infants crying. It wasn't even Emilia who was crying, it was all these other babies. I never felt so overwhelmed, tortured. I felt like I was in hell. I felt like I was being tortured in one of the 9 rooms of hell. So I was actually at the hospital for a total of 7 days, alone, surrounded by strangers, surrounded by nurses who were not the nicest, to be honest. I struggled with having Emilia latch onto my breast, and the lactation nurse had no patience with me. I cried because I felt like a failure. I cried because I couldn't get any milk out, and I had to manually pump my breast because I didn't have I didn't have a breast pump. And then they said that Emilia had a mild case of jaundice, so she had to stay overnight. At that time, it had already been a week that I didn't get any proper sleep. So less than a week into motherhood, and I already felt like the worst mother in the world, I left Emilia at the hospital so I could go home and sleep. I was so exhausted. I was always so exhausted. Andres was working and I wasn't. So I was the one who had to wake up every night to change her diapers and to feed her. And I remember she still wouldn't latch properly. So she would wake up so often because she would be so hungry all the time. I remember crying as I was breastfeeding. I felt so sorry for myself. And I felt so guilty for not enjoying or not finding the beauty in motherhood. I know that there are a lot of women out there who are struggling to conceive, and here I am, being ungrateful and feeling sorry for myself. And that alone made me feel horrible. So it's like guilt on guilt on guilt. Like I just felt guilty for every little thing. Okay, what made me decide to seek help? I remember I was in Sweden. I was away, and it was a business event that I was supposed to be a part of, and I wasn't there. I couldn't be there because we had to be in Sweden for my husband's best friend's wedding, and Anders is the best man. So we flew out, and I just felt so guilty about not being there. I felt like such a horrible business partner. I felt so irresponsible. Even in Sweden at 3 a.m. I was reaching out to my partner Jen. I got some numbers wrong. I got some numbers for the costing wrong, and cost us a bit of money. I remember just being so overwhelmed. I felt so inept, and I just wanted to disappear. I literally wanted to curl up and die. And I was saying it out loud. I want to die. I just want to die. I curled up in bed. I was in a fetal position on Anders' bed in Sweden, and he found me like that. I was crying, and I couldn't say anything else. He asked me what was wrong, and all I could say was, I want to die. And I remember Anders carrying Emilia at 3 months old, and he put Emilia on the bed for me to hold and to hug, and he was repeating to me like, I love you, Emilia loves you, we both need you here. Stay. That's not even the worst of it. Okay. I remember waking up and watching Emilia sleep. I felt like such a burden. I didn't have a job. I wasn't doing anything around the house. I didn't know what to do with Emilia. And I felt like everyone would be better off if I was dead. And I remember I just had this really strong desire to go to the kitchen and grab a knife and slit my wrist. But then I was thinking, as much as I feel like Emilia would be better off without me, I love her so much and I want to be there to watch her grow. So I picked her up and I held her as I cried. I held her so tightly because I was scared that if I put her down, I would get up and grab a knife and kill myself. Of course, Anders was beside me in bed. He woke up from my crying and I couldn't tell him why I was crying. Well, not at that time. I told him the next day. If you knew me from work in Disney or back during my theater days in Manila or back in university when I was doing theater in Blue Rep, you know that I'm normally cheerful, and I sing constantly. And that December, Anders told me that since giving birth, he hadn't heard me sing. And I think that's when I realized that I needed to see. I needed to see a doctor. I needed to seek professional help. And so I did. Now this part of the story was a bit dramatic and kind of funny thinking about it now. So I went to the public clinic where they had my record. I went there demanding to see a doctor. And I just said that I was told that if I come here on this day at this time, I can see someone. I need to see a doc. I need to see a doctor. I remember how frantic I felt. I remember the urgency. And then, now that I think about it, I think I got the schedule switched. They were kind enough to let me stay. They assured me that a doctor would come and see me. And a doctor did after 2 hours. I'm just thankful that I never thought to just go home and come back on another day, because God knows what would have happened to me if I had. I was scared. I was scared for my life, because the thoughts that were going through my head were scary. So after 2 hours of waiting, I finally got to see a doctor. I sat down and I just told her everything. I cried so much. It was such a relief to have a doctor tell me that what I was going through was difficult. She validated my feelings. That was already a massive thing for me. Like, even just hearing that from a stranger, saying that what you're going through is difficult and it's okay to cry. She told me that the earliest appointment she could get me to see an appointment with a psychiatrist was in 3 months. And I got so scared because I didn't know what I was gonna do within those 3 months. I didn't know what I might end up doing to myself in those 3 months. And I think she saw that. She saw the fear. She saw the fear in my eyes when she said that. And that's when she recommended a private practitioner for me to see. And so, as soon as I could, I got an appointment with a private doctor. It was expensive. 2,500 Hong Kong dollars. No, actually, 3,000 Hong Kong dollars for the first session. But it was well worth it because she probably saved my life. It sounds so dramatic. It all sounds so dramatic. So, started seeing the doctor, and she prescribed me some medication. She said that it's gonna be a while before we figure out the right dosage for me. So, and then I remember I was on my way to see her for another appointment after that week of the increased dosage of my medication. And I remember looking up at the blue sky. It was a beautiful winter day. The sky was clear, the skies were blue. And I was thinking, thank you, Lord, for this beautiful day that you've given me. And that was when I realized that my meds had already started working. After finally seeking help, it still hasn't been easy. I saw a private doctor for a few months, and then I went on to see the public doctor. These appointments were so difficult to come by. Like, they would give me 3 months worth of meds because the earliest available appointment I could get with the psychiatrist was another 3 months. And so when I ended up missing an appointment because I just forgot, I had a flight and I couldn't reschedule, and I went on for a few weeks without meds, and things started to go bad again. We were scheduled to go to Sweden for the summer, but then the thought of being in a different continent without any medication, I was so freaking scared. So again, I desperately looked for another doctor, and I booked an appointment with the first one I could see within the day because I was flying out the next day. Of course, I would do something like that. I'll do another video explaining why that is so me. So I saw a new doctor. His name's Dr. Ronnie Pao, and he's been my doctor for over a year now, and I'm very happy to say that working with him, I have been able to maintain my medication. He's been able to see me through a lot of things, and we both agree that my postpartum depression is now in, I guess you could say, remission. So he's already started to reduce my dosage. We're tapering it down bit by bit, but yeah, he said I'm doing great. Well, that's where we're at right now. If there's anything that I want for people to take away from this video, is that, one, you are not alone. There's still the stigma about depression and especially postpartum depression, because motherhood is supposed to be this magical, life-changing thing that will bring you so much joy and fulfillment. But then I didn't feel that. Well, not at first, and I felt ashamed to admit it to anyone. So I'm just so very thankful that a friend of mine had the courage to open up about it, even over Facebook Messenger. She opened up about having to see a doctor, taking medication. I mean, someone that I had so much respect for, someone I held in such high regard, went through this and openly admitted that it was difficult. She struggled, she sought help, and she's taking medication for it. Who am I to say? Who am I to think that I'm strong enough to deal with it? I mean, I wouldn't have taken that step towards seeking help without her. So I'm alive. My Emilia has her mom. Anders has his wife. Because you were strong enough to open up about your struggles. And I guess I'm here to pay it forward. Because sadly, I know that I'm not alone. There's a massive chance that you who are watching here, you probably know someone who is dealing with it and you don't know what to do. My advice to you is tell them that it's okay to seek help. One thing that I remember from the days and months before I finally got treatment was I was in denial. I didn't want to go see a doctor. I thought like maybe I just needed to vent, talk to someone online. The app, I think it's called BetterHelp. So I clicked on it and asked to talk to someone, and it said, please answer some questions so that we can match you with the correct counselor or therapist. Typed in my symptoms, answered all of their questions, and they said, we feel that your condition is serious and you should go seek professional help. I was like, okay, if they're telling me that I need to seek professional help, I should seek professional help. So you're probably wondering, how do I know if I am suffering from postpartum depression? Here are 8 warning signs of postpartum depression. So of course, it's understandable that you go through baby blues. First 2 weeks, it's expected and understandable for you to have, a dip in your mood. But there's this feeling of hopelessness that lingers after those 2 weeks. Sadness or guilt consume your thoughts. So if you're frequently crying, or you feel unhappy about being a parent, or if you're down on yourself as a parent, you lose interest in things you enjoy. I can't believe I never slept. Do you have trouble making decisions? Are you too tired to think straight? Or you just don't care? If you can't decide whether or not to get out of bed, take a shower, change your baby's diaper, or take her for a walk. If you worry you won't be a good mom, who isn't worried about being a good mom? But if it's a constant thing that refuses to leave you, I think it's postpartum depression. If your sleep pattern has changed, I mean, of course, you can't sleep because, the baby won't let you sleep. But they say when the baby's sleeping, that's when mommy sleep too, because that's the only chance you get to sleep. But if you find yourself not resting, not taking a nap when the baby's asleep, it's a bad sign if you've had big stressful changes in your life. I was unemployed. That did not help. I did not have steady income that was coming in. The money that I was getting from my business venture, I felt I did not deserve. Just again, like I said, just guilt on top of guilt on top of guilt. Lastly, if you think about harming yourself, if you think of committing suicide, that's like big red flag. Stop whatever you're doing. Go see a doctor. For all the new moms out there who are suspecting that they may have postpartum depression, please go seek help. Struggling with mental illness does not make you any less of a woman, any less of a mother, and any less beautiful. I feel like there's beauty in coming out on the other side of it stronger and more sure of yourself, because you know, I went through hell. I survived. So there is hope, but you need to get help. The struggle is real. The struggle is real. I hope this video helped you. I hope this video encourages you to just take that step and seek help, because there is help. The longer you wait to seek help, the longer it's going to take you to recover. I waited 6 months. It's taken me 1.5 years of consistent treatment to finally recover. I'm going to put some resources that you could look into if you think that you may have postpartum depression. We both made it! You saw the entire video! And if there's any way I could help, let me know. I have to say, I make a pretty mean cheerleader. I feel like I could be a professional encourager and empowerer. That's true. I don't think it's a word. Doesn't matter. But you get me. You get me. I'm not going to edit that out, because if I edit it out, it means I'm trying to make this video perfect. And making this video perfect just means that I will end up not posting this. Anyway, thank you for staying with me. Thank you for watching the whole video. Please share the video if you feel like it's going to help someone. And I hope you consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. And I encourage you all to make that choice to live out beauty. Bye.